today we did not film the whole day, but we met the actor who is going to be acting Ivan, our grandpa character, and it was a good meeting. He's very invested, and he has promised us that he will do a good job. And the research period for him, I guess, is starting in a way, so we had a lot of questions. And from the conversation with him, I think we maybe felt a bit like we want to change the script a bit more, because just seeing what he was reacting to in it. Did we do anything else? A tiny bit of shortlisting, one scene. Good morning. What are you doing, Teddy?
I am reading the camera to see if everything that I have planned for will work.
Maybe we can explain a little bit about what camera this is, what setup this is actually.
This is the Blackmagic Production 4K with some Soviet lenses like this and anamorphic adapter, which will give us some extra space on the shots. Because we want to shoot mainly in a house, so we want to have wide shots to show the depth of the houses. All the rooms.
And where do you find, for example, the Soviet lenses?
On different marketplaces like eBay or some local ones.
So Teddy is basically, whenever he's in his filmmaking kind of periods of life, he tends to kind of almost every day, I feel like, in certain points, just look what people are selling secondhand, and you can actually find really, really good cinema lenses and lenses that you can make into cinema lenses for very cheap. For example, do you remember how much this one would have cost?
This one is quite cheap. Maybe this one I found a deal for 20 euros, but it was really cheap.
Yeah. So all of the collections he's been collecting over these years.
These are quite new, only from this year.
Oh, okay. All of them are from this year.
Yeah. All of them are Soviet.
And building up camera setups like this takes a lot of time, or in Teddy's case, I guess you started a bit before school, but all in all it has taken maybe 3 years of slowly figuring out what kind of things you like, and it's a constant process where you try out new things, find suddenly new things and everything. So building up a setup is not something where you should just kind of think, yes, we need this right now from the beginning. But it's a good slow process where you start with whatever you have and then slowly build from there.
It's a bit like a video game, because you find every little thing on some marketplace and you get it for cheap, and slowly it becomes a big thing. So
yeah, so that was a bit about this setup. Maybe at some point we'll get to see a little bit of some test shots, perhaps, that we do soon. And then you can actually see what this thing can produce. Teddy has not shot a film yet on this camera. This will be the first time he shoots on this one, which also was a great deal that he managed to get from
we had some problems with the power
cable
port. It was moving around and it was disconnecting, so we had to get it fixed, but now it's good and ready to shoot.
Yes. Okay, so otherwise today Teddy is gonna cut a video of this wait, how do I explain this? I think I said already yesterday, but we met the actor who is gonna play the grandfather in the film, and while meeting him, basically what we did most throughout the thing, or what Teddy did, was explain about his grandfather with dementia, what type of a person he is and everything, because the actor himself doesn't know that much about dementia, so he was very curious to get to know more. And Teddy has these like small clips and videos of a security camera that had been in his Grandpa's apartment, from where he has gathered a few clips of just things that has happened basically in the past months. So we started showing a little bit of those clips to the actor, and he found them really, really interesting and helpful. So now today Teddy's gonna cut together a little compilation of the things, which some of the scenes are directly something that we are writing in the script, kind of almost exactly like how it has been in real life, and other things are just similar maybe on an emotional level, but not what is in the script. But yeah, so that's what Teddy's gonna do today, send it to him, and otherwise we prepare for our production manager David to come tomorrow, and I will probably be thinking a little bit about the feedback that the actor was giving on the script, where we try to make some changes, some maybe, yeah. But to be honest, the thing that is pressing in the mind the most, for me at least, is this school internship vlogging stuff. So there will be a lot of that as well, taking our time today. And today I also finished reading a book by Fredrik Backman. This is the Bulgarian version. I read the Swedish version, the ebook version, but it's a very short story of a grandfather with dementia and his relationship with his grandson and son. A very short story. Read it like just quickly like that, but very, very, very similar somehow feeling to what we're trying to do. So instantly that gave some kind of new thoughts and ideas. While Teddy is editing...
What?
I'm vlogging.
Okay.
While Teddy is editing for the actor, we got an email from the fund that we had applied for funding from, that we are missing some documents. So I will try to use my Google Translate skills and figure out what documents they are and see what we can do about it. I have to call our supervisor now from the school, and those things always make me so nervous. I have some kind of a fear of authority, and I think this person to me feels like an authority. But we just have to do it now. It's feedback on the script, basically. And then we're gonna have to ask about school funding and these kinds of things, which are also scary. But let's do it. Yes, no problem. Bye bye. Okay, I have to give him 10 minutes. In the meantime, I can talk a little bit about where we are now with our plan of how we're gonna direct our actors, since there has been a little bit of interest in that. So basically we have found our cast now, which, yeah, I think I said that, but we have the 6-year-old boy Stefan, who will play Gabo, and then we have the father and the grandfather, who are both actors, mostly theater actors, but they do both. So since we are working with a very young child, for me this is the youngest child I have worked with yet, we decided that we are not gonna let the child read the script, because then maybe he feels the need of learning the dialogue, and that's not something that we want. So our plan is to let the actors meet each other, hopefully. It's not the end of the world if they don't manage to meet each other first, in my opinion, but we might have a meeting where they get to know each other a little bit. And ideally, for example, we have one scene where the boy has created his own kind of kukri costume and he's showing it to his grandpa. So for example, ideally we would try to create this kukri costume with Stefan himself, where he gets to cut a hole into this piece of fur and that he gets the experience of actually making it, so that when we shoot the scene where he shows this costume that he made himself, he actually knows that he has made it himself. So basically our approach with the child is just to try as much as possible to make him understand, a bit like a game, who all of these people are and what the situation he is in is, and then tell him in the moment basically what he's supposed to be wanting and doing, and then let him do it the way that he wants to do it. And after that, give him some kind of direction on how to maybe do it differently. But that's our approach, and it's the first time I'm doing something like this. So far I've always worked with 8-9-year-old children, more or less, and they have learned the lines and they have had a bigger understanding of the whole situation. But I have seen that it works with some and works less with others, depending a bit on how if the child, for example, is a person who wants to perform well, sometimes that takes a bit away from the performance in itself, because there's a certain age when, for every kid it's different, but there's an age when they start to understand the concept of performing and doing something properly. And children in themselves are so natural normally that this is something that you want to try to go away from as much as possible, the kind of performance of it all. So that's what we're doing. And for the grandpa actor, what I said already earlier was the thing that we're sending him the videos. Teddy's still editing. He has a huge collection of videos. He's been filming his grandpa for almost 2 years. He's done a documentary about him, so the amount of footage that he has is enormous, both just shots of him, but then also the security camera that I mentioned. So yeah, so for our grandfather, this for him happened to be very good, because he seems to be interested in learning actually about this dementia, what it does to a person. For some actors, I guess watching footage and trying to replicate something is not maybe what they want necessarily, but for our actor this was what he felt like he needed. So first of all, for him it's mostly sending this, and he will do his preparation a lot by himself. This kind of was clearly made by him. And then once we get closer to the shoot, maybe we'll see if we will have a rehearsal, because I don't know if we will actually have a rehearsal. Normally we always have rehearsals before, or I have always had, but this time it might be different. If we have a rehearsal, I'll try to maybe make a separate video about that and explain how we prepare for rehearsals and what we do during rehearsals and all these things. But we'll see if that happens. If not, I will make a separate video more commenting on how to work with actors. My personal experience from it. I am still a student, so I don't know everything, but I've learned some stuff during our years of doing this. But that might happen maybe after the shoot. But yeah, working with actors is different every single time, and it's never easy, I think. I feel like you have to probably do it for a very long time until you feel like you're doing it the correct way, or something, like finding maybe your own correct way, because it's very, very hard. There are things that you can learn from books on how to do it, but I don't necessarily feel like that's always true. For me, what I can say so far is that a lot of the time, the moment when you can help acting a lot, if you feel like you didn't manage to get maybe what you wanted on the shooting day, is really a lot in the editing, because I have worked with a lot of amateur actors, for example, that have never acted before, And I never felt like that was a problem, because you could always find something in the edit that gives you the result that you wanted. A lot of the times it's found in moments that you didn't expect, but editing really is a huge lifesaver sometimes for acting. And of course also writing the script, keeping in mind kind of your own maybe level, or your own how do you say, like restrictions, I guess. Yeah, I feel like I am a person that likes to play safe, and I have in the past, so I usually have tended to write scenes where I feel like that's something I'm able to get out of another human in a realistic way. So I don't, for example, feel comfortable writing a lot of, like, for example, crying. Simply a crying scene is not something I think, I have never done that yet. I've never asked for an actor to cry for me on demand, because maybe I felt like I haven't access to the actors that I know are able to do this, and I don't know how to bring that out from people who are not that used to acting. So I've decided not to add that into the script. So that's one way as well you can do it, as when you're not yet working with full-on professionals. But this time we are very lucky because we have a good set of actors, so I feel like I can get out of my comfort zone a little bit thinking of that, and we have some room maybe to experiment a little bit more with the emotions that we're able to probably create on set. This is his own costume, since he himself is has always been a cooker, so he does this. And how we explain why he's in the forest is simple. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I understand that. So then we don't need the searching part, he finds them immediately and we can focus on... Yeah. Yes, I will. Bye bye. The call went well. The school and funding part is still a big question mark, but it kind of is always with our school, to be honest. The thing with our school is not that it's not like how a lot of other schools are, where everyone gets the same amount of funding to make their project, but we always have these, first and second year, we have this pitch, a big pitch where everyone in the whole school goes one by one and pitches their idea, and then the jury, judges, professors, or mostly our main dean, he is the one that chooses who he wants to give money to and how much. Like in the real world, I guess they try to simulate it, but for now, our third year, it's been a huge question mark, because they never organize any pitch for third years, and they really don't give us any information about if it's even possible to get money. All of them just kind of say, oh, when your supervisor says you're ready, you go to the office, or something like this. So basically, our supervisor, I don't think he knows when we shoot, that we are shooting in 15 days. He just said that there is a chance, I guess you prepare all your things and then we can go to the office together and talk. So yeah, it sounds like there's a tiny chance maybe of getting something, but if we do get something, we get it after we have shot. But that's not always bad. That's actually completely fine, to be honest. So at least it's good that we might have that opportunity to get a little bit more support with this, but the movie is gonna be shot anyways. We're gonna find ways, we always find ways, so that's not a problem. But otherwise, feedback was clear for me and good. The thing with having supervisors from school is that, like, for example, we have not necessarily chosen our, and every supervisor has their own ways of making movies. So like all the feedback doesn't always align with what you are making, and in some cases getting feedback from someone who makes totally different movies than you can be very difficult to like work around in a way, like knowing when to listen and what to listen to. But anyways, I thought that this feedback made a lot of sense, so I look forward to telling it to Teddy. The main things he was asking about or concerned about was, first of all, that Ivan, our dement grandpa, should have moments when he's more of a normal human being, because so far he's a little bit always in the state of confusion and dementia. And if we make him sometimes more normal, it will be clearer why Gabo, our little boy, would kind of still feel like his grandpa is still normal and he has something to in a way fight for. He wants us to maybe skip one scene where Gabo is searching for bells and make it instead that his grandfather tells him where these bells are, so we don't need this searching scene, but he immediately finds them. I don't know if I fully agree on that, but I think the idea behind it is good. I would just add another obstacle before he would find the bells. And he doesn't see in the last scene one thing where Gabo is kind of mad at these cookery things. At the end of it all, he doesn't think that's necessary at all, which was an interesting idea. We have to tell the set designer not to make an axe if that is true, or if we follow this thing, but actually it might have a good point in it, so yeah. And making the goal clearer.